get value out of his ultimate, whether he is just zoning the engage away here from Hanjin Breon, messing up what the Skarner's trying to do, because if he goes in, he won't necessarily be able to get out. The same with the
Ragnarok now online, as casting just barely gets the rest of that damage. Glacial Storm now available in this mid lane, and there's the hookshot wall dive. First blood goes to Scout. All that important for locking that one down as Sponge comes on in. We're going to see whether he can put some extra pressure onto Gideon. Level 6 advantage here for the Lee Sin, but the rest of the bros are making... Oh, wait, he just flipped over the top of the car. That was so sick. All right, casting now looking to come on over, and Sponge isn't out of the woods just yet. All right, can he tag Namgung in order to get his way out? Well, Petrifying Gaze says absolutely not. And won't have another Q, and so is definitely dead. Still,
we're looking at a game state here where this Dragon is pretty late. You know that neither of these teams have been able to get bottom side control. It's been all about the mid lane.
Oh no, I've seen this one before. Well, stun isn't going to connect as Gideon looking to drive in and pick up the bird. Will be able to throw a rock over as there's the flash taunt. Will be the egg coming on through. The kick from Sponge comes on down as well. Roma going to be the first one taken out. They do kill both mid laners in this exchange, but Nongshim still scrapping here. And now I'm going down to 50%. Still, they are just going to...
So Romer on the back foot. They will get this first Dragon finally here. Super late into the game at 10 minutes, but Romer still the target.
Oh, good turn there from Scout. Does get himself out of the way. Trying to make his way back in now that ulti had ran out, but Alpha are there on the top side, and no flash required there for casting as he didn't even have it.
This is a very scary place to try to fight. Kangan's Ghost is coming up, and Lehens is still here.
That's a big shield. Stands United coming down on top of the Ambessa, and Namgung going to help lock down that kill. Now Lehens going to have to wall dive his way out as Gideon doesn't hit the rock, but he may not need to. Lehens also still has flash, so he is just absolutely fine as he walks it off, but still, very good kill onto Kingen.
I think what Kingen and crew did not actually anticipate was the Namgung ultimate, myself included. I thought, oh, okay, this is actually not a favorable position here.
Teddy do get out.
Or just trying to play the game. They're like, anyone else interested in playing the game with us? Diablo's like, well, I guess if the answer is no, I'm going to hit this turret.
Yeah, Diablo found the single-player version, and Lehens found the dead version. Romer is just going to yell at him, and down will go. Look, if you want me to explain it to you, I can't. And that's just the end of it. I can explain this one, though. Sponge looking for a dive onto Roma. Deadly Flourish is going to miss there from Diablo, but it doesn't matter. Lehens is flashing on top, looking for that revenge. Namgung showed up, but I don't think he wants to be at this party, as Teddy's going to come on back, and he's like, no, you know what? I'll take the back door. I'll just leave. It's
this is such a huge swing of gold in this game. Now Nongshim are going to be able to get this first turret off of a really well-coordinated dive. In return, Gideon gets this Rift Herald. We'll be able to drop it down here. I don't think they'll be able to get this turret, though. It's so healthy. And we have Scout showing up to deny it.
Oh, the wall comes in. Perfect timing.
But they have to be wary of a steal.
Exactly. Sponge moving over, does have the kick back up and available, but no flash. And it looks like they're not actually going to commit to the steal. Sponge will let that one go. And obviously, it's an Infernal Soul. I said that before. Mario. The Baron is going to spawn. Gideon actually CC'd by the Baron. And there is Sponge making his way in. The Baron getting a little bit frustrated as Gideon refusing to auto-attack anyone. And it's like, no, we want 0 stacks. Okay, now Teddy taking some damage here from these undertows as Kingen will be able to pick up his axe. He's got Ragnarok. There's no way that you can actually stop this. The kickback. Sponge looks for the Cuban Namgung, shows up in the nick of time. Teddy survives! And Diablo will be able to help knock down that snake. Scout now getting the big old shield as Hextech ultimatum to try and keep them alive. And Scout, so annoying. Lehens dives in. Casting caught, and oh no! It's a Skarner that's been domesticated! It's in a little pen! Oh, it's terrible. Scout's gonna lock it down. And I guess, you know, birds do canonically eat scorpions sometimes.
Nongshim draft is just so...
Get the red buff! Oh no, it's just old, so bad.
It's just a new pet project here for Nongshim.
Yeah, well, definitely, yeah, I like the use of the word pet. Speaking of which, the pet bird here from Nongshim is up towards the top side. Roma is going to get the ultimate off, doesn't get the stun, but there's a beautiful impale. Down to the egg goes Scout, though it's not over yet, as he should be respawning. The Deadly Flourish needs to be flashed by Roma, and back comes the bird. Just, incubated once again, and Scout pops up at half health.
All right, that's kind of big that they... Oh!
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, just looking for some Krugs, and Diablo will quietly, you know, racked up 6 out of 8 kill participation is kind of just chilling. I kind of hate the build, but it's fine. It's Jhin. It's not like he's going to do much. Anyway, as the bros grouped up as 4, looking for an angle towards this Jhin, and there is the Impale. I don't think they're going to be saving him. So I apologize, Diablo. That was probably going to count as a caster curse. Scout looks for a little bit of a stun. The Glacial Storm comes down. This might be a bridge too far, as he does have the dash cannon, but he doesn't have his flash, nor does he have the egg. And so the bros will kill 2, both of the carries, and now look for a potential Baron.
And now, as much as I've been glazing this draft for Nongshim, it does need to be set up and in formation to operate, and Diablo just gets caught for free, and then the rest of the team fall like dominoes. Lahen's here alone is not going to be able to get anything done here. Kingen is coming over. Sponge is looking for the cross angle. He's on vision.
Yeah, Lahen's goes in. There's a petrifying gaze, and now Kingen's running after Teddy. He'll get that kill. Down goes Namgung as well. And Sponge, he gets on in there. They're still on the Baron, though, and I think the bros will be able to take this one down. There it is. And so they look. And they are going to move on down there now with control of the river, at least for the moment.
Tougher to engage with this comp as Nongshim than to control space defensively. And Bro know it, they're just going to play it slow and walk out of these ults.
Great wall to come down here for Scout as well, just to hold them in that Glacial Storm. But they are just taking the Dragon. And they'll secure it. That is Soul Point over to the bros. Nongshim now just kind of scattering. Gideon looking for the runaround, but I'm not sure about that one. That was a weird angle. He gets kicked back, interrupted on the Impale, and now Gideon gonna have to get out of there. His health bar is gigantic, and so he is going to be all right. Another gorgeous wall. Roma yells at nothing, and the public execution gets into the backline. Can casting save the play? That's the question. As Kingen flashes out over the wall. No one dead just yet. Namgung limping away from the battlefield, and Sponge gets in the double taunt. The turn for the bros, but it's a turn for the worst. As Gideon gets in there, will take down the egg. These health bars are excruciatingly low, and Kingen finds a last hit with an axe. Now Diablo looking for Gideon and casting. And these two are both melee. It's going to be so difficult to get themselves out of here. But Gideon slams him into the wall. And Diablo versus casting. Diablo doesn't want it.
Nongshim had no right to get in. We're going to see Scout come over here just defensively after he gets that turret. Doesn't want to get collapsed on.
He was a little bit worried that there was someone coming up to try and stop him here as the Rift Scuttler will come on down. There's a public execution into the backline, though. Scout is in a lot of trouble. Gets the Seraph Shield, and the wall is gorgeously placed. He will be able to make it out as Sponge is able to take down the enemy mid laner, but the Olaf is also dead. Lahen's having to wall dive his way away as Gideon shows up once again. Lahen's is going to die, and Diablo is sprinting out of the battlefield. That is going to be the blue buff secured, but I don't know about this Baron angle for the bros.
There's no TP for Scout. He just used it. I think Bro actually should be able to do this on spawn because he doesn't have health. There's no hex gates or anything like that. They have the time here. They do reconsider those. Diablo walking in.
Diablo, what are we doing, buddy? Oh no, he's just going to pop like a balloon. Let's see whether he can actually do something here. He does have Scout to back him up. And they do get some vision. Gideon is at full health. It will be a smite fight. And man, using the Baron little wall, the hunting Baron is doing so much damage. It has taken them relatively low as they get into the backline. The kick is gorgeous onto Teddy. And the Olaf takes down the Corki. Lahen's makes his way over. Man, this would look way better for Nongshim if Diablo hadn't suicided earlier. And Scout gets picked up by the public execution and then taken down with these twin fangs. The bros reign supreme as only Sponge stays alive.
Such a smart call from Bro, but they prevented Nongshim from getting that setup that they needed.
So push for the bros. This game is still so close as far as money, but Infernal Soul is such a huge deal. Oh no, the Onivia factor
Sponge is
coming
pulling
on
this
in.
wave, and he is a Lee Sin that's got these cinders to actually play through even as well. He's very slippery, so this is going to annoy Hanjin
where's
on
the
here.
siege?
They're buying a lot of time here with this. Only 50 seconds left on this Baron. It's tough into Onivia with those waves clearing as Lahen's may be in trouble.
Yeah, Lahen's is going to get caught out. Does shield up a bit of the damage, but is otherwise just going to die.
Like that alone might not be enough. They might not even be able to end on Elder Baron if nobody dies on Nongshim in the exchange, but that's the game plan here. As we have a TP flanking Onivia to try to regain space.
Yeah, Lahen's dives in. Hextech Ultimatum is in the middle of Narnia, though. Scout does make his way over. The wall is gorgeous. They're all in the petrifying gaze. plays though as Sponge gets stunned up. The curtains from downtown. Namgun taken out first. It's a double for Scout. Gideon's so incredibly low, but Teddy is able to take down the Olaf. Sponge tries to be the hero, but he fails in the backline, and the Impale is onto 2. Diablo has to flash Teddy. He limps away from the fight, but he survives. Sponge comes back up. Gideon slams him into the wall, and it's a triple for the Fountain Laser. And Teddy even catches the bird in the air. Lehens needs to give the Penta, man. Like, this game has been ludicrous.
Teddy's playing so well. He's fighting this fight with Infernal Soul and like 10% health, but he does all the damage needed, and now he and Gideon are just healthy enough.
But no Guardian Angel, but it should be a 5v5, but there's the taunt from Namgun. Makes his way in. Sponge gets out of the way. Gideon not able to find them there as the Glacial Storm goes down. The Impale under 2! And Teddy's Phosphorus Bomb basically just killed both of them in the blink of an eye. That's going to be Exodia for the bros, and I think that should be enough to close out this game number 1.
I think the brew is well and truly steeped.
Oh, yes.
Ready for consumption at this point at 40 minutes.
I would say that it's probably a bit over the edge, and you're going to need to add a bit of water.
They've been 100%ing this game.
Oh, yeah. They've got all of the trophies.
I think they just got the plat.
Yeah. They can probably take the cartridge out. It's time to go with another one.
They collected all 3 elemental dragons. They got the Barons. They got the Elder. And now they're looking for the Nexus.
Yeah. The Dragon is going to breathe fire on the next one to get beneath that threshold, as the curtains have been called, but probably not for the bros, although these bullets are doing a lot of damage. Diablo holding that last one, just pops Namgung there as they're diving into the backline. Teddy, he's going to be that target. He's down to the GA, but lands is going to get eaten by a dragon. There is the wall to come down. Diablo is able to get another GA, but Teddy's popped back up again, and man, he is so scary. Double stun. There's that dragon we were talking about. The kick is an utter fail there onto Sponge, who goes down, and it's Scout against the world. Like it kind of has been all game long. Another multi-kill here for Teddy. 12, 3, and 8 on the Corki. And not to do Cassante support, which was looking very obvious, and instead they will flex it over to the Nautilus.
I liked how Nongshim started this draft. I don't really...
there.
He has TP. I guess he's fine.
Oh, the max range scatter here for Scout, and Lehens, he picked a flash that comes down. Romer is going to Realm Warp over, and they're going to have to just dive the turret. Let's see whether they can get this one done, as Kingen will be taken down, casting with the all-out, just gets himself out of there. Jim will be able to lock that one down for the first of the game. Nicely done there.
Rely on Casting's collapse if he wants to actually force a fight here. They're playing very safe, but this is an engaging one.
Yes, Sponge going to miss the Q onto his flag as Lehens able to play some defense here. Only level 5 on the Cal, though. He's in a lot of trouble. No flash available, and he will be taken down. The Unleashed Power, the Cataclysm, they're trying to kill Gideon, who just flips his way out of there and will be okay for the moment. So the one kill for the team fights, both of these teams, and there's a minute left on the Dragon.
They should be able to get it before this Dragon.
Oh, Flash Bolt to come on through as Namgung being delivered over to Sponge, but Gideon is right there, and Lehens is just dead. Yeah, well, Realm Warp is going to secure that one, as now Namgung may actually die in the end, and there it is, the Unleashed Power, and both...
Romer has full prio right now, as Scout backed late, and Kingen has got Flash and all, but I think he's just dead.
Yeah, there's the all-out, the Equalizer this time underneath the turret, as Kingen is just flashing away. Just trying to pull the minion wave, I guess.
Yeah.
Sixes for our supports as Nongshim looking for Dragon number 2, and they are actually getting a decent way through it. Currently, Diablo almost has a 700 gold lead. That is from largely the Cull being completed, as well as his quest, which is done. But Roma taking a lot of damage here. Cloud Soul this game as well. And Namgung taking a lot of damage. Man, Lehens is going to be running so fast. 5 extra movement speed on the patch.
And tier 3. He's just not really going to hurt Romer that much.
Lehens, he was thinking about a headbutt pulverized and then realized that it was probably not worth his time, as Diablo does get the spell shield down. Gideon's in a lot of trouble, gets the shield, but look at those boomerangs go. Namgung going to be the next target, and down he will go. Teddy standing his ground, but I don't know whether he really wants to, as On the Hunt has been popped, and Diablo walks into that True Shot barrage. Romer is just burning down. And he is just trying to catch this wave that Kingen is delivering. It should be Sponge locking this one up. Another pole flash here from Lehens as Teddy gets himself out of the way. The ulti there from Lehens will be able to keep him alive, as Diablo will just take down this turret. Teddy lives, but the structure does not.
Yeah, and just a second before Bro get this top turret here for casting, so they miss it by just an inch. As Diablo is not afraid of Teddy right now.
Yeah, the ricochet's going straight through. The flash gets out, though. Nicely done there from Namgung.
And finally,
they are just going to try and take it. We do have a teleport on Roamer available. He's going to use it here. Here's the contest from the Bros. True Shot Barrage does come out. Lehens uses his flash in a weird way as the Pulverize does basically nothing. There's the all-out onto casting. Good knock-ups there from Sponge. Scatter is phenomenal, but Diablo's already down. The only power comes in, though, and Roamer is going to get taken out, and it's Teddy that's the hero of the fight. Scout just not quite in it. The anchor stops Lehens from getting away, and it's a triple for Gideon. Sponge has to try and run for the hills, but he's not going to be able to do so, I do not think, although he does have the flag and drag, and there he will be allowed to live. That's the first dragon going over to the Bro.
To him, then it becomes a different story, as he may be cut down by too many members of Nongshim here.
Well, let's see whether they can do it. He is pretty good at dealing with magic damage, which is what's coming in. There's the Pathmaker now on cooldown as the Cataclysm is going to try and hold him in place. The all-out is down, and that means that he's a bit more susceptible to death.
But on the
and
cross,
Scout's going to give that to
kills and a massive CS lead, but the fact that Roamer gets this money means that he's getting out of irrelevancy in terms of damage very quickly, and now they're even maybe going to get King in.
Yeah, Equalizer goes down. It's a pretty good spot, but Kingen is still very, very dead. True Shot Barrage was there to block off any attempt at escape, and that is not going to work out. Good timing there on that kill as they were rotating down, trying to get towards their Rumble. His blue buff on his way out.
Bro, we're just kind of
denying the aggression.
They're running the map despite the deficits. Okay, though.
Yeah, good scatter does come on down here as Diablo's just trying to layer this damage through. They do not manage to take down the Nautilus.
Oh, that true shot.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. As King in, big ol' shield after the teleport, but he will just use it in order to take down this minion wave. That turret having his teleport back up again, so he is going to answer the Rise's push as Nongshim trying to set up a gank rush, 4 versus 4. The anchor is going to connect, but it's onto Lehens. He kind of likes those odds. He's casting, getting into the backline. This time he will get knocked up, though. It's Diablo. So much safer. The all-out is not going to work at all as the Equalizer stops Gideon from being able to approach. Teddy not going to get scattered because he's not weak. He's dead. It's a double for Scout and Nongshim. They don't like the other dragons anymore. They're going to take a...
is a great consolation prize, I suppose. Plus Lehens, maybe?
Yeah.
Scout's coming over, but I don't know about this.
Lehens is just trying to keep him interested. That is going to be the Drake secured. Lehens did not need to die.
They don't need Alistair to have. Yeah, it's crazy. He doesn't have a bounty, but Sponge does.
I was actually about to say, like, I'm glad he didn't give away the bounty, but, like, he doesn't have one. Namgung now looking for a little bit of a catch here, but it's a great scatter from Scout. Scout is always there to keep these kids alive, and it's working out very, very well. I like how Lehens is probably one of the oldest players on this team.
3-item
He's
Scout.
the one that needs the most protection right now.
3-item Scout, 3-item Diablo. That hasn't changed. And this Baron with Sivir Siege and the poke here from the Syndra is just so incredibly powerful that he's just desperately trying to clear this with the help of the Rise. But this Baron has already gotten a lot of control on the map.
Spell shield down. Casting was thinking about trying to find an angle. The Bros will be able to push up. Only one plate does get removed when Diablo is on one of these team fighting 80 carries. These team fights really can be problematic for the Bros. Casting just trying to deal with this minion wave has actually done a great job. And Diablo finds another gorgeous spell shield. And it's now on cooldown though, and he does actually take some meaningful damage here. As a Realm Warp trying to catch out this Sivir. They do get behind him, but the Equalizer goes down. They get no Grom thrown at him. That was crazy. Scout unleashes the power onto Namgung, and it just doesn't work for the Bros. Diablo's burning down, and he may actually die, but I don't think it even matters. True Shot Barrage from Teddy kind of does nothing. Lehens might die, but that's kind of been what he's wanted all game long, and in fact, he'll be denied. They don't want to give him that extra power. There's the ace, and Nongshim, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to deliver us our coveted Game 3 in the prize group.
Nongshim deliver us the same way Roamer did. They could get back into the game, but now I just don't see it as... Soul point again here for Nongshim on this dragon.
All right, lands. I'm going to get anchored here, but he's got the Unbreakable Will. He's just trying to keep them interested. And now looking for some cooldowns. Teddy gets dove on. and the pulverize comes down. The bottom lane gets locked up. It's a double for Diablo, make it a triple. Casting going to be the next to go down. It's Scout that collects that one. Casting goes all out because he wants all out of this game, and I think he'll get the wish. The scatter comes in, it doesn't matter. That's going to be the ace to come through. It's clean, and Nongshim are just going to knock down this stuff and destroy the Nexus.
Yeah, they're not really that interested in this dragon anymore. Casting's got a big smirk on his face. He had some big moments in this game, but wasn't able to team fight once Diablo hit 3 items. And there just was, again, no sound there, no control, and Bro just looked for another desperate play. But I think they were ready for game number 3, the decider, and another banger game here of our Rise group.
And I have to say, we were saying, Sponge, make sure that you're playing well. We're going to have Lucian Yuumi versus the Melio Xayah this time around.
I don't think that this draft is going to be defined by when I wanted this one. Now under threat because Gideon just left him here.
Let's see whether this pillar can actually make this one work as Namgung does detach. They're trying to tank up this turret as Diablo's flashed on in. That is first blood over to the Yuumi though. They're going to pick up a double, and oh my god. Probably the best individual Drake to get early on in the game.
They'll even
Gideon
get to
will be able to secure it.
Get to keep that control.
Yeah, that dive has really warped everything here in this game. As Teddy, piercing light comes down, fire kick goes wide, and he's now in that fog of war. Lahen's so incredibly low. Is Teddy still going to be going down a little bit here?
That control ward's still there. It's still so valuable.
Oh,
they're in trouble. No flash.
Not do this as Gideon going to flash in with the audacious charge. Diablo, no flash available. He's just dead. Lahen's, he's going to flash, and that will keep him alive for the moment.
It's going to be good for Bro, especially with first brick going over here with all this extra damage.
This is not where Scout wants to be either. Wind becomes lightning, and he's going to miss because of the flash. That is all of those plates. This full inner turret. Inner turrets are worth so much money as well. And so it now gets, like,
he just cut the lead
for Teddy gets cut in half entirely, and there is that gold grab. Sometimes you gotta love production, knowing exactly what to do. And yeah, the outer turret is going to survive. Kingin just jumps on top of Teddy, and he's dead! Oh, God!
In all 3 lanes.
Yeah, this is just like a tempo masterclass here, as it's not a shock blast masterclass from Kingin, who's going to make that one go wide. Tibbers goes down, Ghoulie Wall goes in, Tibbers kicked away, but the turret is still going to go down, and Nongshim are going to reclaim away.
I think they do, but they're not scaling, and they don't have a Yorick in a side lane, as they're going to try to TP him into a flank.
All right, the flanking Yorick is the deadliest as in comes the Maiden. Kingin is going to get rounded. There's the final chapter, and the Jace will be going down first. Nongshim are just going to secure the dragon as now the kite back begins. Can Diablo make that one work? The answer is definitely not. It's a double for the Yorick as Casting now has a little cat as well as a bunch of ghouls, and he has the right skin for it as well. Into the Ghoulie Wall they go, but it looks like Nongshim will be allowed to escape for now. Good fight there from the Bros. Top lane. Well, it was 3 and 4 until Teddy went back home again. So this turret
that
is just
fight itself is only relevant if you also can then threaten Soul Point with it, but they couldn't do that. And the gold they got it matters, but it doesn't change the full story.
Sponge, don't listen to the voices. Don't listen to the voices. He listened to the voices! He's going to need to subjugate. It's not going to work! As the final chapter comes down, looking for some snares. Doesn't quite get it. Teleport in from Scout, though, is now Teddy. Has to flash to get out of the way. Still, it's a pick onto the jungler. And they're going to be very happy that that one is acquired. But that is
I guess they could try to just board it and charge it and siege this up. I mean, I think it's really difficult for Bro to defend without Yorick here. He is coming over.
Yeah, so it might be Shelly getting a charge. And there it is. So that is some extra money. And in fact, almost takes that turret down. Gideon also looking worse for wear as Sponge really has been inside this jungle. They will siege down the inner,
but they also
there's only one inner turret left.
Blast at the approaching Brionne squad, and Brionne just can't close the gap. I mean, Romer has flash, but it's a long flash she's going to need to get in and engage here. Gideon with no crescent guard.
Whoa, the flash from Romer. I don't know about that position from Diablo, but he goes up into the sky, puts the feathers down, and now Kingin to the skies into the back line. And they do look to take down Tibbers. The flash forward, he takes down the Annie, but he will get taken out for it. Gideon now in a lot of trouble. Teddy getting chased down. The flash in, but Teddy stays alive. He's skating, and he's able to get the double as Scout falls. Diablo so close to dead. but he will stay alive for the moment. 3-2, and that should be soul point to the Bros.
The defense of Roamer's flash was great, but they didn't need to chase that far onto Teddy, and it's going to backfire in a huge way. And now Diablo, I think, is probably just going to get run down. Lahen's 100% dead, and this is a disaster for Nongshim.
There were 4 that were alive. Actually, it's just the cat is a little bit confusing. That was a cute flash from Diablo.
Okay, he gets away, but it's not going to stop that soul point from going over to...
Well, Gideon and Roamer are making their way over. Teddy's here as well. They're going to have everyone there except for Casting, whose teleport is still not off cooldown. Gideon gets in. It's going to be a 50-50, but Gideon's going down low. The Cullink's massive. They steal the Baron. Teddy's just partying on the Arcane Storm and not caring at all. King is dead, and the Bros are going to destroy Nongshim now. The Featherstorm comes in, but, I mean, that was way too late. The Bros let him go. They've gotten what they wanted.
Bro, get the steal, get the kill. Nongshim, here's the best way to put it. I don't think they understand their win comps. Bro, they've got 5 turrets to 3. They just keep feeding team fights over to Bro, and now that standing gold you mentioned is still a thing.
Jump scare. As Sponge doesn't have Subjugate, nor does he have his life. Teddy's going to be able to lock him down. Scout now trying to stay alive against both of these brawly members of the Bros, and he is just dead.
Where's the macro we were seeing earlier? Now Bro just
going to have to wait for that one. As Kingin is trying to be frustrating towards the top side. I mean, there's bounties, but there's no
pressure
turrets.
with the Xin.
Yeah.
Who does have a gold lead now.
And the Yorick. So a very good moment here, as Diablo will be able to get some autos onto Gideon, who does throw down the Crescent Guard. It's pretty early, and there's not a whole lot that they can do about it. It does wear off now as he has to flash, gets over the wall to burn the tick, and he's down to the Subjugate. And Nongshim, they get rid of the jungler right as the dragon is spawned. Maybe a chance to come back.
This game starts to feel like who's made the most recent error.
Yeah.
Another Shock Blast is not going to land. Roamer has Flash Timbers. They need to play around it a little bit here, but they just have so much damage. They can kind of camp the dragon and say there's no enemy jungler, so...
Bounty gold, baby!
Bounty gold, as you say. And will Roamer be able to...
Back towards his mid lane.
Lichbane picked up for the Victor. A really potent item as well if they end up just winning a fight suddenly with that open mid lane.
Oh, Roamer looks for the angle, finds Diablo in that backline, but the ulti does come through. Final chapter isn't the best, as now Diablo just gets on top of Roamer. Roamer should be dead, but no! It's the Desire that goes down. Scout has to overextend. Lahen's looking to keep Sponge alive, but he'll fail to do so, and Teddy's on a rampage. Scout staying alive here towards his top side. Wind doesn't become lightning, and Gideon doesn't get in there. Okay, Gravity Well goes down, and Gideon will have to back away, but Scout has to try and get back, and I think the Bros have done it! Nongshim looked great in the first week of this round robin, but this time around, the Bros are gonna find their win here in game number...
No, that inhibitor respawns! And Saya is gonna respawn in 10. They're trying to force this here, and I think they might just have the damage.
I think they might. It's a naked Nexus. They're gonna kill Scout first, just for fun. Teddy, an absolute monster here in this.
Lee Sin has maybe some agency early. It wants to get ahead so that you can play through the Lee Sin tempo advantage, but then it's got an Onivia and an Ornn. So
and Chovy is under very real threat. Is Canyon
is also under threat?
Yeah, speaking of threat, Keen is going to get the flash out here. Is Canyon just going to safeguard his way forward? The Tempest doesn't land, but I don't know whether this Alcove Gaming will work. And there is first blood.
Brewer's backs repeatedly, so there's just no way that he or anyone can start. Kanavi's going to come over for the contest, but he needs a little bit more help.
Yeah, Control goes down. There's the flash in. Flash from Kanavi as well. Chovy is well and truly egged. And Canyon not going to be able to do too much to answer this. Yeah, he just gets out. That is the answering kill over to HLE. And I think one grub did go over to Gen G, but that's all they're going to be able to get. As now Ruler fighting against Gumayushi. He's level 6, does have that bullet time, throws it down here, and Ruler looking a little worse for wear now.
Yeah, well, he walked out just enough. Now he's going to use his ult.
Yeah. Let's see whether Gumayushi can dodge any of these. Barrier is now... Oh! Pops in with the fourth shot! Flip start as well. I actually really do like that. Allows him to be a bit more brawly.
I have a feeling this was going to happen when we panned over to the replay. I didn't think he was going to die necessarily, but I knew there was definitely going to be action in the mid lane.
Yeah, they need to keep his verdict. There is level 6 for Duro. Glad that the LCK did show us that one, as there is Delight taking a lot of damage. Gumayushi makes it rain. But Ruler is able to throw some damage through here as well. They all scatter though as the bullet time comes in. And now Safeguard will get Canyon out of there. Flag and Dragon from Kanavi doesn't do too much, but there's the Cataclysm. Duro flashes away. Zeka not really finding an angle here, and Kanavi gonna get locked down. There is Canyon grabbing that kill. And Gen G, I think it's their turn to take a Drake.
And Zeus also TP'd down, didn't have Equalizer. And I think they could have made a few different choices here to, for example, just keep their Rumble top side, right? They could have decided to back away from that fight. The ultimate there from Gumi, usually the bullet time was very low impact, as Genji just did not care about it, ignored it entirely. We are going to have infer. Guma's in this angle, right? And they're going to try to make a play here with, okay, never mind, we can't do replays, it's illegal.
Yeah, Zeka is going to take a lot of damage here. Kick Flash does come down. Petrifying Gaze hits onto Chovy, but he's still going to be able to kill the Snake. And Delight just has to watch. And
where she could just kind of chunk at Ruler, but needs more help to actually really threaten any serious damage, as Canyon's going in, and then he's going out.
Yeah, I can kind of just dance around them here. Cataclysm does come on through, though. Kickback comes on down, and there's the Safeguard to get him out of there. But now it's Keen's turn to try and get an engage, but he gets taunted, isn't able to throw the train back, and now Duro burnt down to a crisp. The curtains have now been called. The first bullet misses, second lands, third doesn't go anywhere, and they take out the On. And yes, the last one hits onto Zeus, but it does basically nothing. And HLE will be gifted a Rift Herald.
Now, Zeus, his TP did damage. Unfortunately for Keen, he was trying to set something up on the other side, but there was no way to link the two. And Duro falls first, Keen falls second. This Herald is a steal at best for Canyon, but he loses life for it. He doesn't opt in, and Ruler now in trouble.
Yeah. Zeka does get a little bit angry here. Deadly Flourish does come down. Stance United! And Chovy's down to the egg and then into the grave. Duro might follow, but there is the Safeguard. And Gen G just falling apart in the blink of an eye here.
In the snap of their finger.
Oh, nice little kick back onto Guma. He's overextended and Canyon will shut him down.
That's Canyon
going to have that.
Like Canyon he saw that play like 3 steps ahead.
I think most of us did, except for Gumayushi is now Keen. Let's see whether he can actually get this one to push back, as there is the Drake steal away from Canyon. Delight in trouble, bullet time fantastic. Flash away as Canyon gets him to safety, and Keen being a massive frontline. The curtains being called. Kanavi gets out, and they're a little out of range. Last shot does connect onto Zeka, and that is Gen G.
Toby has been maxing his E in this game, by the way. 5 points in it right now. Canyon looking up at the kick play on the Kanavi. Let's see if it's going to mean anything, though, as he turns it.
Yeah, that is going to be Equalizer down. That is a very deadly sin. And I don't know what the idea was there
Canyon
necessarily.
I think he was, he saw a play 3 steps ahead that wasn't there this time.
There he can. Minute and a half on this. Drake will be soul point for Gen G. As Kanavi moves in, teleport here for Keen. Looking to take matters into his own hands. The Ram can come out. Steadfast presence. So good. Keeper's verdict gets rid of 2. Zeka kind of on his lonesome, but hadn't been turned on yet. They look for the Shen first, and they'll find him. As Canyon gets knocked up, Kanavi goes in. Zeus already doing a lot of damage. As Gumayushi with the flanking bullet time. Not sure about that one, as the curtains were called, but Zeka not going to end the show just yet. And it looks like it's just Delight going down. And Gumayushi, running a weird direction, might actually be able to catch up to Canyon with those Swifties, but not able to do so.
The biggest part of this TP trade this time around for the top laners is, okay, we're not done yet, because this time it's Zeka.
Yeah, we got another one. Keen just built Chovy a better rod of ages, but Zeka's making his way in. That's a great knock-up from Keen. Chovy flashes, and Keen stays alive. That was about as well as you could have. Wanting to lock themselves down this soul point, but HLE have control of the pit right now. Keen goes in, doesn't find the angle towards Zeka, but they are very durable. Steadfast presence now on cooldown. It is HLE that even out the Dragons. And no one is dead as a result. Ruler comes on over. We'll be able to grab some overgrowth here as Deadly Flourish and everything else. He just yells because he's angry. And that is the Ram coming on down. Gen G controlling the battlefield, but now a lot of these cooldowns have been used. Phenomenal knock-up here from Keen as the bullets fly. And HLE have been entirely split. The Equalizer doesn't do too much, but it does slow them down. Deadly Flourish here is now they're looking to turn onto this outer turret. And man, it was like almost a team fight, but not. It was just all control.
Damage they had to back, and Gen G are going to get soul point after a deathless.
Oh no, there's the slam into the crystallized, but Kanavi will survive. He gets the ultimate out of Delight, but it's just not going to be enough for them to actually get a counter fight. And the bullet time, the Make It Rain comes down to slow the approach, but this is still HLE losing because there's Infernal Soul over.
I think this composition from behind here as HLE is just so tricky to pull off, like you're saying, that this aren't finding the agency. As Zeus might be the first caught.
Yeah, there's a kickback onto the Rumble. He has to flash away with the heroic charge, and then the safeguard out. Duro will survive the bullet time as well, as Kanavi looks for an angle, but Chovy stuns him up. Glacial Storm comes down, he has to flash. Deadly Flourish is going to go wipe it now. Keen is looking to put the screws in, and the curtains may actually be called this time. Great knock-up as Delight is going to be sent to the skies. But what Gen G want is just more turrets, more map control, and more access to the Baron Pit, and maybe this dragon in 2 minutes.
Gen G are so
frightening, but look at Keen. He is a brick wall. Just uses his shield in order to soak a whole bunch of that damage. Deadly Flourish doesn't actually land, and now HLE, they get to the dragon first. Chovy still towards the top side alongside Zeus, so a 4 versus 4 here in the pit. Let's see what Duro can do. If he manages to get a good ulti here, they could just guarantee Infernal Soul. The train comes down, it's missed as Cataclysm comes in, but there's a Keeper's Verdict, and Gen G, they cut them off. Kanavi taken out, Delight nowhere to go. Zeus comes in, it's a decent equalizer, but not good enough. Deadly Flourish, and another shot will do it. Chovy teleports down, and Gen G may have just won the game.
I think Gen G are saying GG, as it looks like this is the end of the game loss streak for them in round 3 as Guma desperately tries to clear the way, but he's the target.
Heroic charge, just beautiful. The Crystallize was waited for, but it does deal with the wave. And Gen G might actually like the idea of heading towards Baron.
It's like, well, I gotta show up. And he's still teleporting into 3 people by the end.
His Canyon went for a different third item in the Maw of Malmortius first, but look at this siege, man. They can put the walls down. They can protect these siege minions. As Duro looking for a flanking, goes Kanavi looking for Chovy. They throw down the equalizer. There's the Stand United, and now it's Keen's turn to start the engage. Only hits it onto 2 as they're looking to try and focus down this turret before anything else. And Canyon, just in this mid lane, taking down the inhibitor. Inhibitor turret is going to fall, and now Delight's turn to try and go in. They put Chovy down to the egg. They take him out with the bullet time. Gumayushi has done his job, but now the curtains are going to get called. Delight the first to go down. The 4th shot connects onto Kanavi, but it's not enough to do the damage. And now Zeka gets tagged. Oh, there's the double knockup from Keen. Smashes the brittle. Ruler is just reloading in their faces. And down to the GA goes Kanavi. Not going to find the flag because the real carry this game is the Ornn. As Ruler chasing after Gumayushi, and he will find a dancing grenade. Guma is going to get slammed into the wall. Zeus is there with the flamethrower, and down goes the Poppy. But they take out Zeus, and Gen G, I think, will be able to finish this game.
There's just too many minions here. Keen's at full health. Some heroics attempted from Guma. He got the flash, he got the kill on the Duro, but he couldn't get access in the fight. He got Chovy, but that's all he's going to get. And Gen G.
Look at how tanky Keen is. This is absolutely absurd. The Nexus is going to go down before the Fountain Laser would have any chance of killing him. While you're reviving, the Ragnarok wears off, and then you can just kind of win.
The Braum has so much setup in this draft.
It's insane, the value of that champion.
And into this, like, basically here on this dragon, but I just don't think they can get access here. Zeus isn't Olaf with Ghost Flash and ult, so he's going to be the main character of this, so they can make it happen. He's running in.
Yeah, Canyon going to be taken down incredibly low to start this one off. Canyon, he flashes out of the way, but he's still going to go down. Ruler in the backline. Delight will be taken, and Ruler flashes, but there's the flash to follow. All of Gen G are routed, and the dragon is even taken by Halmalite Beastball. Delight, he can actually be a real frontline in this one, as Duro going to slow down Delight as he tries to make his way in. The Unbreakable there, blocking a fair bit of damage as he has to flash away. And there's the Vault Breaker flash from Kanavi. Ruler coming on over. He's going to look to try and slow down Kanavi here as the stun does come down. And there's the ulti. Kanavi may have overextended. True Shot Barrage comes in, and the Arcane Shift does get him out of the way. Now Delight's in trouble. Ruler's hitting everything as the flash comes through. And there's the Realm Warp. Finally, Delight throws down the ulti as Canyon was looking to block off the escape, and the headbutt is going to be futile, and Canyon will lock up the kill.
Disaster for Kanavi! He gets attempted. Bit of a steal away here from Ruler isn't going to succeed.
Still, I'm very intrigued as to why the Ragnarok did have to be used. As now Chovy could be in trouble. Perfect execution from Zeka. The flash, he just waits for it. As there's a little while to equalize this Ezreal. This Rise, though, is going to be in a little bit of trouble. The Shuriken backflip going to come on through, and he is very dead.
Flashy, the way he set that one up to go behind for the flip. And Ruler's going to take this turret out in exchange, by the way, first turret of the game. So this lead gets bigger. It looks like here, this turret will go down, and there's a potential dive angle, actually, when it does.
It definitely is. Look at Zeko trying to find the Shuriken backflip. Doesn't land it, though. Zeus also from the other angle.
And he also has TP if there was going to be a big fight for Gen.G, and Gen.G are trying to maybe make a play. I think this is the right call here for HLE.
Yeah, the Zahen is a difficult one to lock down. Duro could be a target, but he does manage to at least stand beside Keen for a while. That's a lot of damage, and the ulti from this Zahen is massive. Still, the Corki locks up the Pantheon, and they are just too tanky. Kanavi somehow surviving, and Keen respawns just to die again, as somehow Ruler gets the snipe onto the vault-breaking Vibe.
He was surfing around the edge of that fight. He was fishing, because he knew that with the time bought from the Zahen ultimate there, Zeka? I don't know.
I don't know, Ruler, as Zeka's going to get hunted down. Okay, do we have another Arcane Shift? Stridebreaker at the ready, and does have that big shield as well.
Ruler's flash back up.
Yep, I don't think they want to let this Drake go over to HLE as Gumayushi with the blast cone. In goes the Vibe, and she just explodes. Zeka gets into the backline as well as Ruler's the target, but he gets over the wall. Zeus gets on top of him, and down go both of the carries. It's a double for the Akali, and all of them are falling. Canyon just ults away, and yeah, not going.
You can hear how loud these Hanwha fans are tonight.
Zeka 6-0-4 on the Akali. And now, nice pulverize. Canyon gonna get delivered into the backline. Zeka finds the angle, cease and desist under Chovy. He's taken out before he can realm off away. And Ruler just gets swarmed by Life Esports. It's a clean ace. And I think that we're very swiftly gonna be getting to that third game.
One of the fastest games that we've seen in the Legend group this season. 27 minutes, and they are knocking on the door. They get Cloud Soul, they group as 5, and they run Gen.G off the map.
Oh my goodness. This is the
kind of 6-game night that I'm here for, Atlas.
Absolutely. The first one, an absolute joy, and this one is a pleasure as HLE remind Gen.G.
Ailing here.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not talking about the Shyvana turning into a dragon, but we're all late game. We've got decent engage, but it's hard for you to get on top of Inara. You've got to get through a Mundo. You've got to get through a grab. Available for these two in the bottom lane for HLE.
This is going to be a tough one. Let's see whether they can make the handshake work as Gumayushi flashes. The fear comes down. The bailout isn't quite going to work, but they do get the kill onto the Inara. Still, I believe that was first blood going over to the Leona as now Keen in trouble. Kanavi just barely survives, and Zeus is not going to be so
lucky. It's going to take a while before we get there, and Canyon's here for his second pass.
I've seen this movie before, ladies and gentlemen, and with those flashes available, they can go for it. Canyon, Umbral Blades will be able to pick up the kill onto the Inara, and they could even stick around for Delight if they'd like to.
If Kanavi can get this done without an ultimate, I don't think so. Keen also has his ult to peel.
Oh, Keen steps forward, and without Ghost, without Flash, he is definitely going to go down. He wants to take Zeus with him, and that is not going to be possible. Really nicely played here
by... And once again, remove the 80 carry from the map, whereas this is just putting a small...
What size he's wearing, but I don't know how big they make him. As Skooma is going to get some plates here with the help of Kanavi.
As finally, they'll start to get this wave crash through and pick up some much-needed gold. On the bottom side, though, it's a turret.
Yep, and it's a Drake.
You cannot lose team fights. Now we have a flanking Mundo.
That's a scary moment here. Zeus moving down. I think Keen knows the problems here. Chains of Corruption connects onto Guma. He's just dead. Keen finds it. And a 1-for-1 is not what they wanted. Zeus even has to flash. And the Ghost is running. Zeus will put him down. Actually, if this does get through, but it doesn't actually eat it in one shot. And now Gen.G on this dragon. It is going to be Kanavi pushed away, but they dive on in. There's the dragon descending. Ruler on the side of the fight, though. Kanavi tries to get in, but the bailout is successful. Duro looks for the knock-up, and now it's Gumayushi's time to shine, but he gets scattered. Keen gets on top. It's a double for the Varus, and Gen.G, they need no tank. They'll just murder you.
And that might have been the back heartbreaking moment here, even in this early game, as Peyz can't close the gap.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, he can just kill the Varus.
I guess he can.
Yeah, gives him the good old thumbs up and points his little Teemo finger. That was very nicely done.
He's going to TP out for the escape as well, but this
happily
is
farming here towards the top side. Rageblade done for Ruler as well, alongside those glutinous Greaves. As there's a Paranoia, they are looking to try and engage onto the Leona, but she has a lot of tankiness. Still, it's not going to help with those sticks. The Dragon's Descent comes in. Ruler, he has the bailout available as Kanavi. Not going to actually worry about that, as Ruler is going to go down first. But now the Chains of Corruption, absurd damage. They've got a backup AD carry, so it doesn't even matter the Ruler goes down.
It's so hard to just focus the AD carry when there's a Renata right next.
2,000 gold lead here for Ruler at the moment.
Really not.
Look at that Ren damage onto Guma.
Not ideal, because they're going to try to run it back again, I guess.
Let's see whether it does work out, as the Baron is kind of what they're fighting for at the moment. 1 minute until the Dragon. That'd be Soul for Gen G if they could get there. Solar Flare is going to scatter the fight, and there is that Paranoia. In goes Canyon. But this is not the kind of engage that they're looking for. HLE set up the Phalanx, and the scatter will be nice, but there's not a follow-up available, so Gen G will back away.
The first time in a long time, HLE know their place, know to be patient. There were a few different angles they could have tried to take.
No one is in the area. Canyon is looking to come over, but he's going to get the bad news too early.
HLE will arrive just the same.
Well, I mean, Keen actually, he went back to base. Kind of insane that he decided to do that, as now Ruler is on top of the Drake, but there's another Dragon that's causing problems. Paranoia into the backline. The Unleashed Power is going to take down this Shyvana, and now Keen is dashing in. The Renata goes down. Delight could be the hero here, as Keen is going to be taken out. Ruler is bouncing around like a madman, but Delight gets on top of him, and Zeus cuts them down. Gen G may have just hit the use-by date on this composition, and Zeus is going where he pleases.
Scatter
and I think it's to the death chamber for now. As now Chovy is going to look for Delight. He'll be taken out. Canyon is going to be able to find him. Zenith Blade does nothing. It's a double for Chovy. As Gumayushi is the last Baron alive.
The Dragon was not taken in that fight. They're now going to have to figure out right now, but they have their backs against the walls. Here comes the Nocturne.
Oh dear, there's the Paranoia. They just dive on top of Delight, and he is executed. Nothing he can do about that. Difficult. As Chovy comes in, Gumayushi now going to be fighting against Keen, but I don't know whether he really likes these odds.
Chains miss, so that could have been a disaster for Guma. Would have lost his cleanse potentially.
On this Baron, they waste no time. It is spotted immediately. Good scatter there onto Kanavi, as this will have to be a fight. Solar Flare goes wide, but they get the dash cannon out of Chovy. This Baron down to 50%. Remember, they have the Rend, so there's a lot more secure here on this one. It does depend when Ruler pulls these sticks out, as they make it dark. And in goes the Mundo. They're still looking for the turn. The Baron is going to be secured, as there's the Fate's call. Ruler might need to flash out of this one as the Dragon, it descends, and there is the kill onto the Renata, but the rest of Gen G are going bananas. Key now off to the side. Zeka puts him in the gravity well, and Key goes golden. This Varus is unstoppable here in this game, and they just killed everyone around the Mundo. Now Canyon goes in, and I don't think he should have.
Yeah, I don't know why he did. This Mundo has flash, and Zeus picking up a double, and it looks so fed in this game. He's bouncing around like a Beyblade. He says no to Guma, no bailout needed. Gets the bailout here, but there's no one to kill.
Wait, HLE, they're on the Elder.
That's what I'm talking about. They have that spawn advantage.
Well, here's the Paranoia. Let's see whether he can get in. He doesn't, and it's Canyon that's going to die. He's down to the GA already, and Konami, he's healing back up. There goes the jungle.
Now on their side, Chovy sitting on 0 deaths, but those deaths might be coming soon. As HLE descend with this Elder buff, with the spawn advantage, with the play from Zeus there at the end of that Baron. Chovy in trouble. He's got to back off.
This is so hard though, because the Waves are in a terrible spot here for LoLEsports. They have to dive if they're going to make this work, and I guess Zeus has an infinite health bar, so that might actually happen. Still, the Arcane Storm, it comes down, it does a lot of damage, but not enough to kill them.
Could just drop his ult on top, and goodbye Gen G.
Oh, Kanavi going to get turned on. Maybe he's a little bit overextended. Does take a little bit of damage here. It is otherwise going to be okay. Get some vision over. Zoro does need to be really careful. He is super squishy on this Renata. As Solar Flare connects onto Chovy, he gets McHale's. As there's the Zenith Blade in. Delay may have found the angle, but that hostile takeover is unbelievable. And Knopf, they're actually the Elder Drake is going to take them down. What
HLE, and they defend the push.
The Dragon...
Teleporting Zeka, and this fight will likely be the one to decide the game.
Yeah, they're not going to go onto the Baron this time around. It's Delay taking a lot of damage. You can see Ruler in that front line. He can actually do this. He's got a Jack Shows completed as well.
The main CC here is the Leona, and sometimes conditionally Kanavi, as they're already on this with the Kalista, and HLE are just going to nope out and push mid.
Well, they might actually be successful here. So Light is actually just going to separate from the team. He should be going down as Chovy will find him. The Unleashed Power will be invested. But the Baron will be traded for an inhibitor in the mid lane.
And they're going to try to use this inhibitor pressure to take the Elder, I guess. I mean, Genji will eventually back. Chovy is home now, and can Hanwha get out is the real question. They don't have Baron.
Oh, Duro, can he find the hostile takeover angle? That is the question, as Chovy has to flash away from the Dragon. But look at this AoE. Can he get on top of the Inara and takes out Gumayushi? And now Ruler is in amongst the fight. Zeka will be taken down, and look at Ruler execute these players. Now he's alive to deal with Zeus, who is not going where he pleases this time, unless it's the Death Chamber. Genji have done it. They've taken out HLE, and they have not gone to that 0-3 scoreline here in this season.
One lone Leona against the onslaught that is a Baron buff Genji at 35 minutes. Guma dreams of respawning here in 20 and carrying this game, but he's going to need more friends if he's going to do it, and they just are not going to give him the time. HLE took a gamble. They looked for the play in mid lane, and it did not pay off. That's it.
And I guess from 2020 until now, the rule still is ban Ruler's Kalista, because my God, he was ridiculous in that game. This man